I'm lying on a cold, hard surface, surrounded by an eerie silence that seems to pulse with an otherworldly energy. Confusion clouds my mind as I try to piece together what happened. The darkness envelops me as I open my eyes, the sterile smell of disinfectant burning my nostrils. The last thing I remember is the deafening crack of gunshots, the searing pain in my chest, and the metallic taste of blood in my mouth. I sit up, my movements oddly fluid and weightless. That's when the horrifying realization hits me. I'm dead. The small town hospital in Winslow, Arizona, has become my eternal prison. Rage bubbles up inside me. A seething hatred for the couple who ended my life in that godforsaken restaurant. As the initial shock subsides, a new sensation washes over me. Power. I can feel the fear of the living pulsing through the hospital corridors like a sickening heartbeat. It calls to me, beckoning me to feed on their terror. At first, I content myself with mere sightings. My favorite hunting grounds become the most intimate spaces. Bathroom stalls, supply closets, and even the cramped confines of the elevator. The dining room becomes my playground, where I delight in levitating utensils and sending trays crashing to the floor during busy meal times. The crescendo of screams and shattering dishes is a symphony of chaos that feeds my insatiable hunger for terror. A young orderly, whistling nervously as he makes his nightly rounds, nearly soils himself when I materialize before him, my disfigured face contorted in a silent scream. The satisfying sound of his panicked footsteps echoing through the empty corridor is music to my non-existent ears. The wide-eyed horror on a nurse-'s face as she catches a glimpse of my translucent form in a darkened hallway sends a thrill through my spectral body. As weeks pass, my powers grow stronger. I expand my territory, haunting the parking lot where exhausted staff stumble to their cars after grueling shifts. I revel in the primal fear that radiates from my victims when they realize there's nowhere to run. But fear alone no longer satisfies me. The rage that's been simmering since my death demands release. Violence becomes my new addiction. I begin to target individuals when they're alone and vulnerable. One night, I reach a new level of depravity. A weary doctor, her eyes heavy with fatigue, approaches her locker after a marathon shift. As she reaches for the handle, I seize my moment. With all my spectral might, I hurl an open container of used needles directly at her. The sickening sound of metal piercing flesh mingles with her agonized screams. Blood spatters across the floor, glistening obscenely under the harsh fluorescent lights. In that moment, I feel truly alive. A sinister grin spreads across my face as I realize the potential of my newfound existence. But soon, that's not enough. I crave more. The sight of mangled bodies and spilled viscera becomes as commonplace to me as the beeping of heart monitors once was to the living. The sight of living flesh bruising and tearing ignites a perverse pleasure within me. I start small, a well-timed shove here, a strategically placed obstacle there. A loose stair railing here, a malfunctioning piece of medical equipment there. The possibilities are endless. I learn to disguise my kills as accidents, ensuring a steady stream of fresh victims. Years pass and my methods grow more sophisticated. I lose myself in the artistry of murder, finding new and increasingly grotesque ways to end lives while maintaining the illusion of misfortune. Each death feeds my twisted soul, but the hunger never abates. But even as I revel in my reign of terror, a nagging doubt gnaws at the edges of my consciousness. Is this all there is to my existence? An eternity of inflicting pain and suffering on the innocent? My pondering is cut short by a sight that chills me to my very core. Before me, a massive gate materializes, its surface writhing with tortured faces and grotesque, otherworldly symbols. As it creaks open, I am assaulted by a cacophony of agonized screams and the stench of rotting flesh. This nightmarish realm is a reflection of the world I created through my actions. Shame and regret flood my being as I realize the true cost of my choices. Skeletal hands burst forth from the opening, their bony fingers grasping at me with unnatural strength. Their faces, twisted with sadistic glee, are forever etched in my mind. I try to flee, but my spectral form is powerless against their pull. As I'm dragged across the threshold, the full horror of my fate becomes clear. The last thing I see before the gate slam shut is the hospital corridor, peaceful and ordinary. A stark contrast to the eternity of torment that awaits me in a world of my own making. Every act of violence, every life I ended, has contributed to this hell. As I'm torn apart by the ravenous ghouls, their silent hunger matching my own insatiable appetite for suffering, I understand that this is my true home. A fitting punishment for the monster I became. My final thought, before eternal agony consumes me, is a warning to the living. Beware the darkness that lurks within your own soul, for it has the power to create hells beyond imagination.